Please excuse how well I will play. 19.
Welcome to this test match between Zimbabwe and South Africa at Harare. Jim Maxwell is with me in the commentary box for this game.
Thanks, Richie.
We have overcast conditions here today, quite a heavy atmosphere, and that should enable the ball to swing around quite a bit. So the outcome is that Zimbabwe have elected to field. It'll be interesting to see if that was the right decision as the game progresses. Players look really fired up as they run out onto the field. So let's take a look at the teams. Here's the lineup for South Africa. Gibbs, Smith, Ellis, Rudolph, Dickerman, Lucent, Boucher, Pollock, Boyer, Antini and Nell. And for Zimbabwe, Abraham, Marilia, Vermeulen, Mazakadza, Taylor, Chigumbra, Taibu, Streak, Murphy, Hondo and Mofu. Streak is to open the bowling for Zimbabwe. Stopped by Hondo. Streak to Gibbs.
Richie, you were a successful Australian captain. What's your advice to potential captains?
A good captain is one who's 2 overs ahead of the play. He also has the common sense to know you might as well take the credit for what goes right, because no one else will take the blame for anything that goes wrong. Marilia is after it. These will be leg byes. Umpires signalling that as leg byes. Streak, the ball to Smith. That really is a suicidal run out.
That's the early wicket they were looking for. Now they need to keep the pressure on.
goes for a duck.
Well, he hasn't troubled the scorers with that innings.
This was the end of the innings for Smith. Cullis is the next man in. Cullis facing. Well, that one will wake him up a bit. Streak, the ball to Cullis. Murphy is chasing that one. He's got it into the gap. Oh, that's a really superb shot. Super shot by Cullis.
There's a perfect example of how to play that shot. He deserved 4 runs.
We can have a look at that again. Gibbs is now facing. It's straight at punt. Foolish running. That's simply throwing wickets away.
Just throwing away wickets. There's nowhere near making this ground.
This was how the wicket fell. Rudolph facing.
I'm sorry, Richie, but there really isn't any excuse for missing those.
Mofu to Rudolph. Rudolph waiting at the striker's end. Rudolph waiting at the striker's end. Mofu, the ball to Rudolph. And that's out. Caught by a chicken ball.
Might have looked easy, but it wasn't.
This was how the innings ended for Rudolph. Streak at the start of his run-up. Streak continues. Streak continues. That one will have ruffled his feathers. Ooh, that looked quite nasty. That came off the...
Oh dear, that's a poor piece of fielding. He seemed to take his eye off the ball.
Masakadza sprinting along the boundary.
You must be sure that you keep your eyes on the ball, or you'll fumble it just like that.
Masakadza sprinting along the boundary. 4 byes to be added to the totals.
4 byes. That'll go down as a mistake by the...
Let's see the action replay of that. Streak to Gibbs. Just 1 run. Dippenar facing. It's straight to a fielder. He's asking for the 3rd umpire. He's got the green light. He's safe. Gibbs waiting at the striker's end. Six runs were picked up from that over by Gibbs. Lofu to bowl to Dippenar. Should be some runs here. An easy single there to Dippenar. Lofu continues. Lofu to Gibbs. Abraham is after that one. That won't please the wicket-keeper.
4 byes. The keeper won't be pleased about that.
Thank you, Mr. Wicketkeeper. You are doing a tremendous job.
Lofu continues. Stopped by Hondo. Gibbs facing. Murphy is after it, pushed into the gap. Might be out. It is.
You just can't afford to lose wickets like that.
This was how the wicket fell. Lofu, the bowl to Gibbs. That over cost 6 runs. Klusener is now facing. Murphy is in pursuit, played into the gap. Fielded by the man at long on. Those are the first runs for Klusner. Streak continues. Murphy is chasing that one. Oh, that is an excellent shot by Gibbs. Really struck that well.
Great shot.
Welcome.
That seemed to rocket to the boundary.
Let's take a look at that in slow motion. Gibbs waiting at the striker's end. Streak continues. Streak to Gibbs.
That's really annoying for the bowler.
Foolish running. That's simply throwing wickets away.
There was never a run there. I can't believe I even tried for it.
That's what happens when a field player plays cricket.
This was how the innings ended for Klusner. Boucher is the next man in. Boucher facing. And the end of the over. Begin a new over. Gibbs facing. Steered expertly into the gap. Another single to Gibbs. Mofu continues. Mofu to Boucher. Mofu continues. Yeah. It's straight at Pondo. A hopeful shout. The batsman was easily in. There's just one there. South Africa have taken their total on to 5 for 24. Gibbs waiting at the striker's end. shout for that one. And the umpire's given it.
That was a good decision by the umpire under a lot of pressure.
South Africa, 6 down now for 24.
I don't think he agrees with the umpire's decision.
This was how the wicket fell. Streak to bowl to Boucher. Streak continues. Murphy is after that one. That's found the gap in the field. Chigumbura is not going to reach that. Boucher very quickly onto that one.
That was beautifully played. He was well over the top of the ball.
Let's see the action replay of that. Boucher waiting at the striker's end. Streak to Boucher. Streak continues. Streak the ball to Boucher. That's the first boundary for Boucher. 5 runs came from that over. Facing. He runs here. One run to Boucher. The score is now 6 for 30. To Pollock.
I'll say it again. Catches win matches. If you put chances like that down, you'll regret it.
Mofu continues. Pollock waiting at the striker's end. Mofu continues. Murphy is after it. He's worked that into the gap. Those are the first runs for Pollock. Mofu to bowl to Boucher. Two runs came from that over by Mofu. Pollock facing. Murphy is chasing that one. Pollock waiting at the striker's end. Streak continues. That's well bowled by Streak. Streak the bowl to Pollock. Spot on, line and length. Pollock facing. That's a superb throw.
You just can't afford to lose wickets like that.
This was how the innings ended for Pollock. Boyer is the new batsman for South. Streak to Boyer. Very accurate over by Streak. Boucher waiting at the striker's end. Batsmen are in trouble here. It looks like the third umpire's being called on this one. And that's the red light. He's out. Murphy, the bowler's wrist spin. Murphy, the bowler's leg spin. They have 2 wickets in hand. Boucher facing. Murphy, the bowler's wrist spin. Murphy, the bowler's leg spin. Bowling figures for Murphy. 1 overs, 1 maidens, 0 for 0. Streak, the bowl to Antini. Streak continues. Murphy is in pursuit, pushed into the gap. Just 1 run. Boucher waiting at the striker's end. Murphy is after that one, tucked off his legs. Really given that a whack. 6 runs. Boucher takes his score to 13.
Bowler doesn't look too happy about it. Might be a little bit more in the next one.
Let's see the action replay of that. Streak to Boucher. Streak continues. That might be out. It is.
It might have been a risky run, but the pick-up and throw were sensational.
This was how the wicket fell. Nell is the new batsman. Streak to Boucher. That over cost 7 runs. Murphy to start another over of this long spell. And that's out. Caught by Streak.
That was a lazy shot. He'll regret that when he sees the replay.
Well, that's a miserable total posted by South Africa.
South Africa would have hoped to give their bowlers a little more to bowl. The bowlers gave little away, and they really made the batsmen work for their runs.
Murphy gets his first wicket. Nell is out first ball.
Out first ball.
Properly. Because we are primary batting on. Bowling 5 out.
Zimbabwe are about to start their innings. A dreadful batting performance by Zimbabwe.
That's a low total by Zimbabwe. They'll be struggling to save this match. The bowlers can be very pleased with themselves.
Gibbs facing. Murphy is after it. He's found the gap with that one. Those are the first runs for Gibbs.
What a ripper. The crowd enjoyed that one.
We can have a look at that again. Gibbs facing. Streak, the ball to Gibbs.
Oh, well held. They're looking for that early wicket, and they weren't disappointed.
Streak gets his first wicket. This was the end of the innings for Gibbs. The next batsman is Thomas. Thomas waiting at the striker's end. Streak, the ball to Thomas. I think he'll be okay. It'll It'll sting a bit though. Oh, that could be a very painful blow. That came off the pads. 5 runs came from that over.
There's plenty of time left for them to get the run, so they don't need to take any risks.
Thomas is now facing. It's straight at Pondo. Batsman will have to be more careful now, having got away with that. Cullis facing. Murphy is after that one. Mofu to Cullis. There's just one there. Smith waiting at the striker's end. Mofu, the ball to Smith.
That's poor cricket. He took his eye off the ball.
Smith waiting at the striker's end. A very good over. Only one off it in the end. Streak, well, the last over before tea. Murphy is in pursuit. Streak at the start of his run-up. Comfortably held by Humbly.
The fielder did well there. He made it look easy, but it was a difficult catch to take.
Streak gets his second wicket.
He's bowled really well out there in this innings, and he's getting his just reward.
This was how the wicket fell. Rudolph is the new batsman for South Africa. Streak continues. Streak to Rudolph. Rudolph facing.
South Africa will want to see its middle order turn things around today. The first innings wasn't the best.
Streak, the ball to Rudolph. Mofu continues. batsman was in trouble with that delivery. Smith facing. Mofu to Smith. Mofu and the batsman in trouble with that one. Mofu continues. Mofu to Smith. That was a very tight over from Mofu.
South Africa have a lot of time to play with, so they don't need to take any risks. They should get themselves in before they start playing extravagant shots.
Streak continues. Rudolph waiting at the striker's end. Rudolph facing. Oh, big shout for that one. No response from the umpire. It really was a very close call.
Well, Richie, that looked very close, but the umpire's given the batsman the benefit of the doubt. A tough decision by the umpire, but he seemed certain.
Let's see the action replay of that. Streak continues. Streak, the ball to Rudolph. Streak, the ball to Rudolph. Streak has bowled 3 overs, 2 maidens, 2 for 4. Smith waiting at the striker's end. That's found the gap in the field. Collected by Streak. 1 run to Smith. Mofu continues. Mofu to Rudolph. Rudolph waiting at the striker's end. Excellent bowling by Mofu. Mofu continues. Players are leaving the pitch, covers are being brought out, and it's raining quite hard. Welcome back to the cricket ground for this next session of play. Mofu in a new over. Mofu to Rudolph. It's straight at Hondo. Mofu continues. Rudolph facing. Rudolph waiting at the striker's end. Mofu continues. A very good over. Only one off it in the end. Smith is now on strike. That one will have ruffled his feathers. Oh, that could be a very painful blow. These runs will be signalled as leg byes. Umpires signalling that as leg by. Streak, the ball to Rudolph. Streak, the ball to Rudolph. There's no ball by Streak. There's the umpire signal, no ball. Rudolph facing. Streak continues. Streak continues. Rudolph waiting at the striker's end. That over cost 2 runs. Mofu to Smith. Smith facing. There it goes. Murphy was chasing that one. Murphy to Smith. Win ball.
Too late now. It's straight through the gap.
Murphy gets his first wicket. This was the end of the innings for Smith. Next batsman in is right-handed Dippenaar. Murphy continues. Hit straight to a fielder. Dippenaar waiting at the striker's end. Murphy is after it, flicked off his legs, stopped by Chikambra. Murphy, the ball to Dippenaar. Murphy is in pursuit, steered expertly into the gap. Murphy kept it tight in that over.
He kept that really tight. It was a fine over.
Streak continues.
Don't worry, we are getting there.
Streak to Rudolph. Murphy is after that one. Oh, that is an excellent shot by Rudolph. Those are the first runs for Rudolph.
He should be looking to bowl a tighter line
Right.
at this stage.
Let's see the action replay of that. Streak continues. Rudolph facing. Well, no one will wake him up a bit.
Well, he's completely misjudged that one. He won't enjoy seeing that again.
It's the third wicket now for Streak.
He's bowled brilliantly, probing and testing with every delivery.
Rudolph goes for only 4.
That's a long walk back when you haven't scored many runs.
This was how the wicket fell. Klusener is the new batsman for South Africa. Klusener facing. Abraham is after that one. That won't please the wicketkeeper.
4 byes. That'll go down as a mistake by the keeper.
Streak continues. Murphy is in pursuit.
6.
That's over the rope. 6 runs off Streak. Klusener absolutely smashed that for 6.
The straight drive is his favourite shot, and it shows.
We can have a look at that again. Dippenaar is now facing. These runs will be signalled as leg byes. Umpires signalling that as leg byes. Murphy, the ball to Klusener. Mofu continues. That was a lively delivery by Mofu. Mofu to Klusner. Klusner waiting at the striker's end. Mofu and the batsman in trouble with that one. Mofu, the ball to Klusner. Picked up on the boundary by Streak. That's 2 more runs on the board. That's the end of the 10th over. This partnership is now 15.
The commentator is blind. It's 13, but it says 15.
Streak continues. There it goes. That's the first runs of the day for Dippenaar. Klusner waiting at the striker's end. Ooh, that looked quite nasty. Streak continues. Klusner facing. They have 6 wickets in hand. Streak, the ball to Klusner. Klusner waiting at the striker's end. Murphy is chasing that one. He's worked that into the gap. And the end of the over. Murphy to start another over of this long spell. Murphy to bowl his leg spin. They have 6 wickets in hand. Murphy to Dippenaar. Murphy to bowl his wrist spin. Chigumbra is after it. Murphy to bowl his leg spin. Now Zakadza is chasing that one, tucked off his legs. Murphy to bowl his wrist spin. Chigumbra is after that one. The sweeper picks up. runs to Dippenaar. A very good over. Only 2 offered in the end. Partnership between these two is now worth 18. Streak to bowl to Klusener. Abraham is in pursuit. 4 byes to be added to the total.
You can't afford to give the batting team gifts like that. 4 byes don't look good on the scorecard.
Klusener facing. Streak continues. I think he'll be okay. It'll sting a bit though. Oh, that could be a very painful blow. Streak continues. Murphy is after it. That's a fantastic strike.
It doesn't really matter if it goes in the air if you hit it that far.
We can have a look at that again. Streak to Klusener. Murphy is in pursuit. That's over the rope. 6 runs off Streak. That moves him on to 20.
His straight driving is perfect at times.
Let's see the action replay of that. Klusener facing. Murphy is chasing that one. It's gone way into the stands. 6 runs. That was a mighty hit.
The straight drive is his favourite shot, and it shows.
Our last best score was 338 on 0 wickets.
Let's take a look at that in slow motion. Dippenaar face an over of spin. Murphy to bowl his leg spin. Chigumbra is after that one. They have 6 wickets in hand. Dippenaar waiting at the striker's end. Chigumbra is after it. That's racing away to the square leg boundary. The 50 is up for South Africa.
Great shot. That seemed to rocket to the boundary.
Let's see the action replay of that. Murphy continues. That's superb bowling from Murphy. Murphy to Dippenaar. Murphy to bowl his wrist spin. straight to a fielder. This partnership is now 42. Klusener is now facing. Streak is after it. That's a big hit. It'll go all the way. The 50 is up for South Africa.
He really is very good straight down the ground.
We are pacing ourselves.
We can have a look at that again. Hondo, the ball to Klusener. Klusener waiting at the striker's end. Chigumbra is in for shoot. That's a huge six. These two players have now put on 54.
He absolutely loves to play that shot. It's a big run scorer for him.
Let's take a look at that in slow motion. Klusener facing. I think he'll be okay. It'll sting a bit though. Hondo, the ball to Klusener. He struck 2 sixes now off this over from Hondo. Hondo to Klusener. Abraham is chasing that one. That won't please the wicketkeeper.
4 byes. That'll go down as a mistake by the keeper.
Thank you, Hondo.
Murphy to begin a new over. Hondo is after that one. Hondo just picks that up inside the rack. 2 runs to Dippenaar. Dippenaar waiting at the striker's end. That's out. Caught.
He got into great position to take that catch.
Murphy gets his first wicket. This was the end of the innings for Dippenaar. Boucher comes in at number 6. Boucher facing. Chigumbra is after it. Foolish running. That's simply throwing wickets away.
South Africa can't afford that kind of wicket. That's throwing wickets away.
That was my mistake.
This was how the wicket fell. Pollock comes in. Murphy to bowl his leg spin. Murphy at the batsman. That was a super piece of keeping by Tabu. That's a big appeal. It looks like the third umpire's being called on this one. That's the red light. He's out. That was a super piece of keeping by Tabu.
Good keeping. The He only had a split second to whip the bails with.
They have 3 wickets in hand. Murphy, the ball to Boyer. Two runs came from that over for South Africa. Hondo to start another over of this long spell. Chigumbura is in pursuit. That's over the rope. 6 runs off Hondo. That moves him on to 44.
What an effortless shot. Brilliant.
Let's see the action replay of that. Hondo continues. He's winded, but I think he'll be okay to continue. Klusener facing. That's turned away through mid-wicket. There are only 3 wickets left now.
South Africa needs the lower order to contribute. The last...
Hondo to Klusener. Klusener waiting at the striker's end. Hondo continues. Excellent bowling by Hondo. And the end of the over. Boyer is now on strike. Streak to Boyer. Streak, the ball to Boyer. Streak continues. Boyer waiting at the striker's end. Streak, the ball to Boyer. There it goes. Hondo is chasing that one. Taylor is not going to reach that. Super shot by Boyer.
Oh, great shot. That was 4 from the moment it left the bat.
Let's take a look at that in slow motion. Hondo to begin a new over. Hondo continues. Klusener facing. It's straight at Murphy. Hondo continues. Chigumbra is after that one. That's a fantastic strike. Klusener has reached his 50 from 34 balls. They are giving him an excellent round of applause.
Nice. Well played.
Hondo to Klusener.
Well, he was in good position, but it just didn't stick. Straight into the hands and straight out again.
Klusener takes his score to 51. Boyer facing. And the end of the over. These two players have now put on 17. Klusener waiting at the striker's end. Streak continues. There it goes. Chigumbra is after it. He's found the gap with that one.
He absolutely loves to play that shot. It's a big run scorer for him.
We can have a look at that again. Klusener facing. Streak to Klusener. The batsman didn't look at all comfortable there. Klusener waiting at the striker's end. Abraham is in pursuit. That won't please the wicketkeeper.
That's poor wicketkeeper. 4 binds, a real gift to the batting team.
Thank you. You are giving me here time to take it.
Streak continues. That one will have ruffled his feathers. Ouch, that must have hurt. These runs will be signalled as leg byes. That's the end of the 20th over. Hondo to start another over of this long spell. Hondo to bowl to Klusener. Hondo continues. Klusener waiting at the striker's end. Murphy is chasing that one, stopped by Murphy. He's pushing his luck a little there. Total is now 7 for 100. Hondo to Boyer. That was a no ball by Hondo. There's the umpire signal, no ball. Hondo, the ball to Boyer. Hondo continues. Streak is after that one. That's over the rope. 6 runs off Hondo. That moves the score into 3 figures for South Africa.
Well, he really hit that a long way. Exciting stuff.
Let's see the action replay of that. Streak to begin a new over. There it goes. Good catch from Murphy.
He got into great position to take that catch.
Streak has taken 4 wickets now. Klusener is making his way back to the pavilion.
He can be happy with that knock. He played really well.
This was how the innings ended for Klusener. And Tini is the new batsman for South Africa. And Tini facing. Streak to Antini. Comfortably held by Murphy.
Well, he's just picked the fielder out perfectly with that shot.
Streak gets his 5th wicket. This was how the wicket fell. The next batsman is Nell. Nell waiting at the striker's end. Streak continues. Nell facing. Streak kept tight in that over. Hondo to bowl to Boyer. Streak is in pursuit. That's in stands. 6 runs.
Great strike. It looked like 6 the moment he struck.
We are not going down that area.
Let's take a look at that in slow motion. Hondo continues. Hondo, the ball to Boyer. That was a lively delivery by Hondo. Hondo continues. Boyer facing. Abraham is after it. 4 byes to be added to the total.
That's poor wicketkeeper. 4 byes, a real gift to the batting team.
He's a wicket keeper, not a Superman. See that height of the ball.
Hondo continues. Bowling figures for Hondo. 5 overs, no maidens, 0 for 39. Murphy to Nell. Murphy to bowl his wrist spin. Might be out. It is.
Well, that was a terrible run to take. He was miles out.
That's an appalling total for
South Africa. That's a pretty poor total by South Africa. Worked hard and kept it tight.
Zimbabwe are looking very, very happy. So, to sum up then, Zimbabwe win by 8 wickets. Thanks for joining us for today's play. We very much look forward to your company at the next match. Welcome to this test match between Zimbabwe and South Africa at Harare. Joining me in the commentary box for this match is Jim Maxwell. The outcome is that South Africa won the toss and elected to bat first. It'll be interesting to see if that was the right decision as the game progresses. The teams are making their way onto the pitch and the crowd is giving them a warm welcome. So let's take a look at the teams. Here's the lineup for South Africa. Smith, Gibbs, Dippenaar, Ellis, Fall, Klusen, Boucher, Pollock, Boye, Peterson and Bentini. And for Zimbabwe, Abraham, Marilia, Vermeulen, Mazakadza, Taylor, Chigumbura, Taibu, Streak, Murphy, Saya and Mofu. Smith is going to face the first ball of the innings. Murphy is after it. That's a good shot. That's the first boundary of the innings for South Africa.
He'll have enjoyed that one. It was four the moment it left his bat.
Let's see the action replay of that. Smith facing. Streak to Smith. Smith waiting at the striker's end.
Richie, one of Australia's former captains, Lindsay Hassan, queried the coloured uniforms when they first came into the game, calling them pyjamas. Why are they coloured?
Coloured uniforms are worn for one simple reason. When you're using a cricket ball for day-night matches, a red ball would be lost in the clothing. Similarly, a white ball and white uniforms just don't work, as was found in 1977 with World Series cricket. Not a question of whites being better than coloured clothing, it's just common sense. Ouch, that must have hurt. Streak, the ball to Smith. Four runs came from that over by Streak. Gibbs is now facing. Murphy is in pursuit. That's over the rope. 6 runs off Murphy. Gibbs absolutely smashed that for 6.
Another one of those, and this bowler could be out of the attack.
We can have a look at that again. Gibbs waiting at the striker's end. He's worked that into the gap. That's a big hit. It's 6.
His timing is fantastic. Just a little turn of the wrists and away it goes to the fence.
Let's take a look at that in slow motion. Mofu to Gibbs. Stopped by Saya. He's struck 2 6s now off this over from Mofu. Gibbs facing. And that's out. Caught by Chicago.
That's the early wicket they were looking for. Now they need to keep the pressure on.
Mofu gets his first wicket. This was how the wicket fell. The next man in is Dippenar. Dippenar facing. Murphy is after that one. That's racing away to the fence. Really struck that well.
Great shot. That seemed a rocket to the boundary.
Let's take a look at that in slow motion. Mofu to Dippenar. That over cost 16 runs. Streak at the start of his run-up. Streak continues. That was a cracking delivery from Streak. Streak continues. I think he'll be out.
Oh dear, that's a terrible misfield. More runs to the batting team.
Smith waiting at the striker's end. Streak, the ball to Smith. Murphy is chasing that one. Great shot by Smith. He found the gap with precision.
That was a gift for the batsman.
We can have a look at that again. Streak continues. He's winded, but I think he'll be okay to continue. Oh, that could be a very painful blow. And the end of the over. Lofu begin a new over. Murphy is after it. Dippenar facing. Murphy is in pursuit. That's racing away to square leg boundary. Picked up very early by Dippenar.
What can I say about that, Chip? He looks in top form today.
Let's see the action replay of that. Mofu, the ball to Dippenar.
Great catch. He took a great catch there. The batsman will be gutted.
Mofu gets his second. This was how the innings ended for Dippenar. Cullis is the new batsman. Mofu to Cullis. Held by Sam.
That was an important catch. He did very well to hang on.
Mofu gets his third, but we can have a look at that again. Nick. Mofu on a hat-trick. Paul waiting at the striker's end. Ooh, that looked quite nasty. Well, that one will wake him up a bit.
It might give him a hard time about that one back in the dressing room.
4 runs kept. Smith is now on strike. Murphy is chasing that one, tucked off his legs. Direct hit would have got him.
Really good running there by the batsman. That can in turn force mistakes by the fielding team as they come under pressure.
Streak continues. Streak continues.
He must have been sleeping in the field when that ball was hit at him.
Paul waiting at the striker's end. Ouch, that must have hurt. That one will have ruffled his feathers. Streak to Paul. Streak continues. Murphy is after that one. Cracking stroke. Streak is not impressed.
That's a nice start to his innings. Should settle him down.
Let's see the action replay of that. Smith facing. Murphy is after it. Chigumbura is not going to reach that.
It was a good shot, but the bowler shouldn't be bowling at him.
Let's take a look at that in slow motion. Mofu, the ball to Smith. Smith facing. Mofu continues. Murphy is in to shoot. 4 runs to Smith. Played with a beautifully straight bat.
Great shot. That seemed to rocket to the boundary.
Let's see the action replay of that. Mofu, the ball to Smith. Murphy is after it. That's through the gap, and it'll go for 4. Smith has moved into the 20s and is starting to look far more relaxed.
He's always looking for that shot. It's a really strong point for him.
We can have a look at that again. Mofu continues. Runs were picked up from that over by Smith. The partnership between these two is now worth 19. Streak to Hall. Hall waiting at the striker's end. Streak to Hall. Hall facing. Streak continues. He'll be okay, but that will be very, very sore in the morning. Streak, the ball to Hall. There it goes. Murphy is in for shoot. This partnership is now 19. Smith is now on strike. Mofu continues. Smith waiting at the striker's end. Smith waiting at the striker's end. Murphy is after that one. Racing away for 4.
His straight driving is perfect at times.
Let's take a look at that in slow motion. Mofu, the bowl to Smith. Abraham is chasing that one. These runs will be signalled as leg byes. Umpires signalling that as leg byes.
That was a lucky one.
Mofu continues. Five runs came from that over. These two have taken their partnership to 24. Streak to begin a new over. Ouch, that must have hurt. Smith facing. Streak continues. Streak to Smith. Smith waiting at the striker's end. Streak continues. And the end of the over. These two players have now put on 24. Mofu, the bowl to 4. He's been caught.
That was a lazy shot. Didn't get over it at all.
Mofu gets his 4th wicket. This was the end of the innings for 4. Klusener is the next man in. Mofu continues. Mofu to Klusener. Klusener facing. Klusener facing. Mofu continues. Mofu had the batsman in trouble with that one. Mofu has bowled 5 overs, 1 maidens, 4 for 36. Streak to start another over of this long spell. Streak to bowl to Smith. Played into the gap. That takes his score to 28 for now for 53. Streak continues. Murphy is after it. That's over the rope. 6 runs off Streak. The 50 is up for South Africa.
He's always looking for that shot. It's a really strong point for him.
We can have a look at that again. Klusener waiting at the striker's end. Streak to Klusener. Streak continues. Seven runs came from that over by Streak. Murphy, the ball is wrist spin. Murphy to Smith. Murphy, the ball is leg spin.
Oh dear, that's a poor piece of field. He seemed to take his eye off the ball.
Somebody keeps eyes on the ball all the time.
Smith facing. Smith waiting at the striker's end. Murphy, the ball is wrist spin. He struggling to get back here. The umpire is calling for the third umpire. And that's the red light. He's out. Klusener is now on strike. Murphy is chasing that one. That's gone a long way.
His straight driving is perfect at times.
Let's see the action replay of that. Streak to bowl to Klusener. Streak to Klusener. Streak continues.
That's a bad miss. He did the hard part by getting into good position, but put it down.
He's not a good judge of a run, is he? Klusener facing. Klusener waiting at the striker's end. Six runs were picked up from that over by Klusener. Murphy continues. Murphy to bowl his leg spin. Murphy to bowl to Boucher. Murphy to Boucher. Murphy to bowl his wrist spin. Murphy continues. And the end of the over.
That was a good, tight over for Zimbabwe.
Streak to start another over of this long spell. Klusener facing. They have fun. Streak continues. Klusener waiting at the striker's end. Murphy is after that one. That's over the rope. 6 runs off Streak.
He absolutely loves to play that shot. It's a big run score for him.
can have a look at that again. Streak to bowl to Klusner. Murphy is in pursuit. Chigumbra is not going to reach that. Streak is not impressed.
He'll be pleased with that one. It came sweetly out of the middle of the bat.
Let's take a look at that in slow motion. Klusner waiting at the striker's end. That's the end of the 15th over. Partnership between these two is now worth 16. Murphy to bowl to Boucher.
He wasn't in very good position to take that. I think he misjudged him.
There's just one there. Murphy continues. Murphy to bowl his leg spin.
At this level of cricket, you really can't afford to drop your catches. You must be sure that you keep your eyes on the ball, or you'll fumble it just like that.
That takes Klusner 2 and 3. Murphy continues. Murphy to bowl his leg spin. Boucher facing. Stopped by Chigumbra. And the end of the over. These two have taken their partnership to 18. Klusner is now facing. Streak to Klusner. Streak continues. Klusner waiting at the striker's end. Murphy is chasing that one. There it goes, right out of the ground.
That was a super shot. I really didn't think it was too bad a ball.
Let's see the action replay of that. Streak to Klusner. Murphy is after it, stroked through the covers.
That's a bad miss. He did the hard part by getting into good position, but put it down.
That was a third miss.
Boucher facing. 7 runs came from that over for South Africa. This partnership is now 25. Murphy to begin a new over.
This will be our second last over.
Murphy
We'll
to
continue
bowl
the
to
game
Cruiser.
in letter stream.
Murphy continues. Struck in front. And the umpire's given it.
That was a good decision by the umpire under a lot of pressure.
Murphy gets his first wicket. This was the end of the innings for Cruiser. The next batsman in is right-handed Pollock. Murphy, the bowl is wrist spin. Hit straight to a fielder. There are only 4 wickets left now. Murphy to Pollock. Murphy to bowl his leg spin. And the end of the over. Boucher waiting at the striker's end. There are only 4 wickets left now. Streak continues. Streak continues. They streak the ball to Boucher.
Out straight down the fielder's throat. The batsman will be kicking this.
This was how the wicket fell. Oye is the next batsman. Oye facing. Streak the ball to Oye. Ooh, that looked quite nasty.
That was a good tight over for Zimbabwe.
We'll continue this match in our next video. We are going to save it.